Mark Twain once said that too much of anything is bad, however, too much of great whiskey is barely enough. So this festive season, we've got some connoisseur tips to make you like a real pro on whiskey, and so I've got 5 little nuances that we'll work on whiskey with today, and let you, at the end of the party, be counted as one of the finer appreciators of great whiskey. So 5 great things about whiskey: the nose, the color, what kind of glassware to use, how to taste whiskey, how to really mix whiskey is what we're going to talk about. Let's begin with nose, and what better to have a whiskey like a black bottle, which is a pure Islay malt, a mix of about 5 different kinds of Islay whiskies. Islay, as you know, is this rugged region in Scotland, known for its smoky palate, smoky nose. A nice wine glass, if you do not have a nosing glass, this helps you keep the nose inside the glass, and then deep whiff will let you appreciate the fine aspects of whiskey. The Islay whiskies tend to be a little smoky. They have a little extra feeling of having last night's ashtray being smoked into your nose, but a lot of us Indians especially appreciate it. They're doing very fine. A nice way to nose it is clear your nose of anything else. Take a deep breath and kind of chew on it, and you'll really realize where it's coming from, the distinct parts of Scotland that it's coming from for great Scotch whiskey. You can smell nose, you can smell fruits, you can smell herbs. In this one especially, you can smell a lot of smoke, as I say. Yeah, great. We move on from here to appreciating whiskey by means of its color. Nose is obviously a great way of appreciating whiskey and finding out what the whiskey is about, what its heritage is, what its age is. But color is another way of appreciating whiskey. And a fine way to do color is to take a nice big glass and get a nice whiskey. We've got monkey shoulder here. Pour yourself a little dram. Nice big white round glass is appreciated, and swirl it around, put it to the light, and see what color is coming off. Color defines how much time whiskey has spent in a barrel. Light colors typically signify that it has less time, therefore less age on the whiskey, usually. Also, darker colors therefore usually signify longer time, but also the type of casks used. We use 2 typical kind of casks in Scotch whiskey making. The American bourbon cask, which previously held bourbon, they give a lighter color to it, so it's not age only. However, the darker color and the sweeter palate comes from Oloroso or Spanish port wine, or fortified wine casks, which give it the deep red glow and also the palette of fruits. However, color is a great judge, usually, of how old whiskey is, and this, by its color of deep red, orangish hue, will typically signify that it spent a fair amount of time in the cask. Yeah, color. Now, I've had a lot of people asking me what kind of glasses to use on whiskey. Well, you saw me typically use nosing glasses, but those with nosing. However, when you want to drink great whiskey, I think there's nothing like a good old-fashioned glass made of nice solid glass. So to get a great glass, like a on the rocks glass or a old-fashioned, is a good way to get to taste good whiskey. We've always done, all of us have at some point of time done back of the seat, back of the car, plastic glass drinking, which was more like fun for friends' sake. But to get good taste of whiskey, and we have a very fine rye whiskey from Rittenhouse here, American, from Philadelphia actually, and a great way to get to appreciate whiskey is to put it in a nice glass. No doubt you've got to appreciate the nose and the color, and glass is the way to do it. But to get a good taste of whiskey, what you must do is put it up to your lips and take a nice deep whiff and a small sip and let it be in your mouth. Yeah, and you can see the glow from the whiskey coming up onto my face. Yeah, that's a way to do great whiskey, to put it in a great glass, Because one of the ways to do great whiskey, actually put it in a nice glass and appreciate it. The taste of whiskey obviously is why we drink whiskey, right? Apart from the badge values that these great brands here have, we obviously drink more whiskey than we drink anything else, and actually statistically more whiskey than all the other spirits put together, simply because it's got fabulous taste, both on its own or with mixes or as you'd like it, etc. But the thing about whiskey is how it's felt on the palate, and a nice way to do that is to pick up a great glass yet again. Make sure that the glass is absolutely clean and get a little dram of whiskey. That's what the Scotsmen call it. Get a little dram of whiskey. We've got here Paul John from the John Distillers in Goa. They're making a very fine malt here in India now. Get yourself a wee bit. Don't rush it up. You don't need to have all the pegs in one shot. Just a wee bit, just a wee dram. Okay? Let it rest for a bit. Swirl it around. Get to appreciate the color. Get to take the nose. And then put it on your palate and let it be there. There isn't any rush. What it has got to do, it will do. Slowly but surely. Yeah? So cheers, and here's on the palate. Splendid, right? This whiskey reminds me of as Scottish as whiskies are. It's smooth. It's got a bit of tanginess on it. It's got a lot of grass, very Speyside feeling whiskey, and a great product from the John Distillers. Okay. A lot of people have asked me, what is the best way to drink whiskey? And I've always said the best way to drink whiskey is to drink it responsibly. Any spirit, as a matter of fact, to drink it responsibly. However, there are a few fine nuances of how to do whiskey, or how I would suggest that we should do whiskey. Whiskey has its own character. It's got its own flavor. We've spent a lot of time making this fine whiskey for you, and it's spent a lot of time in casks, so it imbibes the flavor of the wood onto the spirit. The best way to enjoy that whiskey is actually on its own, or if you're not one of those who'd like to get whiskey just on its own, then frankly, do it the way we do it. Okay, so Wollongong Sons, one of the older whiskey in Scotland. It's a nice blended Scotch whiskey. Just a wee bit of dram, a nice clean grass. And if you're in the tropics, as we are in India most of the time, except like I am in Delhi right now, just 1 cube of ice. Don't put too much of it. It just completely ruins the whiskey. It doesn't let the bouquet or the nose come out. And a wee bit of water, about half water to the whiskey. It does two things to it. It does exactly what rain does to the terroir. It opens it up and gets the smells of the earth out. Similar thing to the whiskey. Swirl it around. A little bit of water will let the nose and bouquet come out. Okay, the little bit of ice will get it down to the temperature that it was supposed to be made for, and then take a little sip. That's the perfect way to have whiskey. I know a lot of people in the world drink it with various kind of mixes. I've had people drink it with ginger ale. I've had people drink it with cola, and a lot of us in India drink it with water. Unless you want to really disguise the whiskey from your mother-in-law, the best way to do it is just with water and 1 cube of ice. Yeah? That's all from me today. I hope to look into you again. So Tulleeho, here's to a great new year, and keep drinking, but drink responsibly. Cheers.